Attorney General Josh Kaul and area leaders met in Green Bay earlier today talking about immigration policies and challenges in the Green Bay area. The goal of that discussion to understand what people here in Green Bay are thinking about the issue and how it impacts them. Kaul spoke about the decline in school enrollment and how local businesses are seeing less traffic. When asked about if immigration enforcement, Kaul says public safety is more important.
So it's critical when somebody is aware of information that could help investigate significant drug trafficking or human trafficking, a violent crime, or any other type of crime, that folks know that law enforcement is going to be focused on public safety.
Kaul also says the Department of Justice is going to protect the rights of Wisconsinites.